أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين واللعنة الدائمة الباقية لأعدائهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: إني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعاني. صلوات. In our discussion on a brief review of Dua Iftitah, I've been trying to go a little bit fast so that at least we can complete the whole discussion. We reached to the point where we were talking from the 7 parts that I have divided the dua into. We've already gone through the introduction, the 5 praises for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then our prayer where we're looking at the past mercy and kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we also looked at the 12 special praises for Allah. And last night in the mahfil, at least in the preamble, I started with the first part of the salawat on the Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt. And so inshallah we'll go back to that to complete part 5, and also inshallah the 6th one, we'll leave the last one for Monday night, inshallah. Salawat. As far as the salawat on the Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt is concerned, we saw that, the Panjatan, basically the 5 holy figures have been mentioned separately, and then the rest of the Ma'sumin are there in one group. And there also, of course, you maintain the protocol. You have a longer salawat for the Prophet, and then you come to Amir al-Mu'mineen, then Bibi Fatima, and then Imam Hassan and Hussein have been put together as brothers. And so just very quickly to connect that before we move on, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, oh Allah, send your blessings on Muhammad. And so then we basically talk about who is he. And this is where we see the words Abdika wa Rasulika wa Aminika wa Safiyika wa Habibik, your servant, your messenger, your trustee, your chosen one, your beloved, wa khiyaratika min khaliqik wa hafidh sirrika wa muballigh risalatik. And he is your best choice from your servants, the preserver of your secrets, and the preacher of your message. So this is basically the first introduction. When we say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, who is that? And I highlighted, or underlined Abdika, your servant. And I emphasized yesterday why, that position as the Abd of Allah is actually the peak of Fadilat for Rasul and even Amir al-Mu'mineen. And I'll come to that afterwards. And so after describing who is the Prophet, that we want Allah to bless him, now what kind of salawat we are asking Allah? Normally we just go through the routine, very fast. The faster you read, people are more happy with that. But think about it. So after describing him, who is he, now you come to the type of salawat. So you're beginning by saying أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى. This is all about which kind of salawat you want Allah to send to the Prophet. The most virtuous, the best, the most pleasant, the most complete, the purest, the ever-growing, the most noble, the most holy, and the most sublime. And then what? وأكثر. That was, what kind of salawat? Now you're saying, how much should it be? وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. And Allah, this salawat that I want of the best kind, it should be more than what you have blessed or graced or showered mercy or shown compassion or greeted anyone from your servants, your prophets, your messengers, your chosen ones, and those who are honorable with you from your creation. It should be more than all that. And after that, we come to the second salawat, which is for Amir al-Mu'mineen. There also, we have this, Allahumma salli ala aliyin Amir al-Mu'mineen wa wasi Rasul Rabbil Alameen. Allah, send your blessings on Ali, the leader of the believers and the successor of the messenger of the Lord of the universe. And then, how do we describe him? Again, abdika wa waliyika wa akhi rasulik wa hujjatika ala khalqik wa ayatika al-kubra wa naba'in azim. Again, abdika is the first thing. Your servant, your friend, the brother of your messenger, your proof over creation, and your great sign, and the great news when we talk about Nabai Azim. So we saw that, when it comes to the Prophet and and Amir al-Mu'mineen, this dua which has come to you from Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. One of the du'as of Ali, just one sentence, on this issue of what does it mean to be abd. And this is coming from the fifth Imam, quoting the dua of Amir al-Mu'mineen, where he says, he used to say, Ilahi, kafa bi izzan an akuna laka abdan. O Allah, it is sufficient honor for me that I be your abd and slave. To be the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Ali, that is the izzat, that is the honor. And then he says, وَكَفَى بِي فَخْرًا أَن تَكُونَ لِي رَبًّا. And it is sufficient for me to be proud that you are my Lord. For me it's good to be your abd, and for me it is an honor that you are my Rabb. Ilahi anta li kama uhibbu. O Allah, you to me are the way I want you to be. وَوَفِّقْنِي لِمَا تُحِبْ. So give me the tawfiq and opportunity to be the way you want me to be like. And so this is where we see when we talk about the concept of, ubudiyyah, this is a very important point. Yesterday I even mentioned why even in tashahhud, the very first statement there is, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. And so we have maintained, not like the Christians who have, blurred the line between Allah and Isa. We have maintained that difference that Allah is Allah and Rasul is Rasul and Ali is the wasi there. Salawat padne para. And so then the salawat goes on, but this is where you see it all comes. This is Bibi Fatima, وصلي على الصديقة الطاهرة Fatima Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen, and send blessings on the most truthful and the pure lady Fatima Zahra, the leader of the women of the world. And then the next one was صلي على سبتي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيد الشباب أهل الجنة. Send your blessings on two grandsons of mercy to the world, which means Rasulullah, and the leaders of guidance, Al-Hasan al-Hussein, the leaders of the youth of paradise. We talked about this yesterday. The next part of this salawat is the whole group is there now. وَصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَئِمَّةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. After the Panjatan separately, now you come to a collective salawat. that, O Allah, send your blessings on the leaders of Muslims. علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي. All the names I don't even translate at the end. And his successor, referring to the 11th Imam, who is the guide, who is also rightly guided. And then further description about them. Who are these? Hujajika ala ibadik. They are your proofs over the servants. Wa umanaika fi biladik. They are your trustees on your land. Salatan kasiratan daima. O Allah, send the blessings, numerous and continuous blessings on them. Now we come to the next part, and this is where section number 6, prayer for the present Imam. And inshallah on Monday we'll end with the dua for ourselves through the present Imam. Now when it comes to this part, it is a very significant part of our dua Iftitah, where we are saying Allahumma wa salli ala wali amrika al-qa'im al-mu'ammal wal-adl al-muntazar. That Allah, send your blessings on the successor by virtue of your command. Might be slightly different translations you will see, but this is what it means, that you are the wali of Allah by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-qa'im al-mu'ammal, the expected one who will rise to establish the kingdom of God on the earth. Wal-adl al-muntazar, and the awaited justice. See, it doesn't say wal-adil al-muntazar, the one who will be just, whom we are expecting. Here the word al-adl has been used. Sometimes, a person is so much into something that you actually say he is not adil, he is adl. And this is where we see that when it comes to this concept of the 12th Imam, when he makes his appearance, the most important thing would be that the justice that he establish on this earth. The famous hadith that the Shias and Sunnis both have about the coming of the Mahdi, it says, لَيَمْلَأُ الْعَرْضَ قِسْطًا وَعَدْلًا كَمَا مُلِعَتْ ظُلْمًا وَجَوْرًا. That he will appear in order to fill the earth with equality and justice, the way it would be filled before that with tyranny and injustice. And so this concept of just rule and justice and equality in society, this will be finally, established in a global manner and in a true form with the appearance of Imam Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala farajul sharif, inshallah. Salawat. Reminds me of a lady in Siffin from Yemen. There was a contingent of an army of Amir al-Mu'minin who had come from Yemen, and these were actually very loyal Shias of Ali, not like many people from Kufa, who just looked at him as a leader and that's it. And with that group, a lady had come who was a poet in her own right. And her role there was actually to encourage the young men from her tribe to go and fight for Ali. And so she would recite verses composed by herself in praise of Ali and Ali, Rasulullah and the Ahlul Bayt, and condemning Muawiyah and his family. And she was so powerful in her, words, that even the soldiers of Muawiyah remembered those words. And she was very blunt in whatever she wanted to say about Muawiyah, his mother, and there. And a time came where, after the shahadat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Muawiyah sent a very tyrant, very arrogant governor to that area in Yemen. And he was very oppressive in the way he dealt with the issue of, zakat, the farming area that they had. And so the tribe people were very disturbed. They said, we should send somebody to Muawiyah to plead our case, that your officer is not being fair with us. And amazingly, they couldn't find anyone better and more powerful than her. The whole tribe said, nobody will, go there or have that courage to speak but her. And she agreed. She said, okay, I'll go. She ends up in Damascus, asked for audience of Muawiyah. She was given the permission. While Muawiyah was sitting there, in his darbar with his, people around him, they said, who is this lady who is coming to see you now? She is the one who used to say this and that. They started reciting the lines of poetry that she had against Muawiyah. She came in, and Muawiyah, said, how are you doing? Your words have come here before you came. The report and the news about you. And she, in a diplomatic manner, she said, yeah, there was a time, but I've come for something else. And that's where she then, presents her tribe's case there, that he's being unjust and this and that. And at the end, she ended by saying, if you dismiss him and replace him with a better person, we will be thankful to you. If not, we will see. Now, those last two words, that if not, we will see, Muawiyah didn't take it lightly. He said, you are threatening me here? And he started, abusing her. And she, being a, poet in her own right, extempore, started reciting 4 lines there, two couplets, where, if I can remember the exact lines, where she was saying that, وَصَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَى رُوحٍ تَضَمَّعْهُ. May Allah have soul, may Allah bless the soul, that when it was buried in the grave, justice was buried with him. And he so much, established justice that his name became Adl by itself. وَصَارَ مَقْرُونًا بِالْعَدْلِ. And so Muawiyah says, whom are you referring to? And she says, I'm referring to Ali. There was a time when I went with a similar complaint to him. And when I was told to go in, he was doing his nafila prayers. When he realized that somebody's there, he shortened it. And he says, what is it? And when I complained about one of these officers, he raised his hand. Ali raised his hand and said, oh Allah, you be witness. I have not allowed them to deal with the citizens in this manner. And then he wrote a note there, asking these officers to come to Kufa so he can explain what is the problem that people have with him. And so she says, that was one example, and that's what I was remembering. وَصَارَ بِالْعَدْلِ وَالْحَقِّ مَقْرُونًا, that he became same, the name of Haqq, the truth, and Adl was with him, and when he died, justice died with him. And this is where we remember that Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen was Imam al-Adl, and his grandson will come and establish, inshallah, the eventual justice. And so further, we go in this dua. وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين, and surround him with your favorite angels when he comes. Assist him with the Holy Spirit, Jibreel, يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك. O Allah, appoint him to call the people towards your book and to establish your religion. So the basis of coming of the Imam would be the da'wah towards the Quran. وَاسْتَخْلِفْهُ فِي الْعَرْضِ كَمَا اسْتَخْلَفْتَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ. And O Allah, make him your vicegerent on the earth as you made others vicegerents before. وَمَكِّنْ لَهُ دِينَهُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَيْتَ لَهُ. And establish for him his religion which you have approved for him. أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. And Allah, replace his fear with safety, since he worships you and does not associate anyone with you. And this is where we are, praying for our Imam and his coming. Allahumma izzahu wa'aziz bihi. And Allah, give him power, and through him strengthen us. Wansurhu wantasir bihi. And O Allah, wansurhu nasran aziza, and help him, and through him help us. And O Allah, help him with a mighty help. Waftah lahu fathan yasira, grant him an easy victory. Waj'al lahu min ladunka sultanan nasira, and grant him an assisting authority from you. Allahumma adhhir bihi deenaka wa sunnata nabiyyik. When he comes, this is our dua, and that is also the mission of the Imam, that Allah manifest through him your religion and the way of your Prophet. If you want to see the true sunnah of Rasulullah, you will see through Imam Mahdi Ajarallahu Ta'ala Sharif. حتى لا يستخفي به شيء من الحق مخافة عهد من الخلق, so that nothing from the truth remains hidden out of fear of any person. And this is a very powerful dua, the last part of it, which is actually our dua for the hope. Allahumma inna narghub ilayka fi dawlatin karima. O Allah, we earnestly desire from you a noble state or a noble government. تعز به الإسلام وأحلى وتضل به النفاق وأحلى, through which you strengthen Islam and its people, and through it you will disgrace hypocrisy and its followers. وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. And the dua is not only for him, also for ourselves here. And make us in it, in that Dawlat Karima, among those who call the people towards your obedience and the guides to your path, to be among the helpers of Imam Zamana, and grant us through it the honor of this world and the hereafter. You can't have any honor higher than being part of that process of, promoting the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bringing people towards the obedience to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we'll conclude here, inshallah, and until the last part, which is actually a dua for ourselves. The last part of the dua Iftitah, inshallah, on Monday night. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.